All right, let's dive into a topic that might make you shift a little in your seat. We're talking endocrine disruptors.
Oh, yes.
It might sound like a villain in a sci-fi film,
Yeah.
but they're a reality.
Oh, yeah.
And sneaky ones at that, hidden in everyday stuff we all use.
That's right.
Think of this as a detective game. Learning how to spot these dangers, how to outsmart them.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a ton of research to unpack,
Okay.
articles, even some personal stories.
Oh, wow.
We want to make endocrine disruptors crystal clear to you, the risks involved, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Okay.
It's all about knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. It really is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much power these tiny molecules have.
Yeah.
These are hormones we're talking about. The messengers that control pretty much everything in our bodies.
Wow.
Regulating everything, growth and development.
Yeah.
Mood, sleep, even our metabolism.
So even small disruptions to these messengers can really throw things off balance.
Absolutely. That's what endocrine disruptors, EDCs for short, do.
Okay.
They interfere with how our hormones work, mimicking them, blocking them, or even changing how much our bodies make.
It's like having a spy in your system.
It really is sending all the wrong signals.
Okay, that's a little unsettling.
Yeah.
So where are these spies hiding?
Well, they're a lot more common than you might think.
Okay.
We're talking about chemicals found in everything, from plastics, pesticides, you name it,
Oh, wow.
even personal care products, and the food we eat.
So this isn't just something from a lab experiment.
Nope.
This is in our homes.
Right under our noses,
Wow.
in things we think are safe and convenient.
Okay, let's name some names. What are we talking about here? What are some of the big ones?
BPA is a major one.
Okay.
It's used to make certain plastics and resins, and you'll find it in a ton of stuff.
Okay.
Food containers, water bottles,
Right.
even the lining of canned goods.
Wow.
I mean, think about all those cans of soup and beans we go through.
Yeah, a lot of can. It's a lot of BPA exposure, potentially.
So canned foods are public enemy number one.
Not necessarily. Not always. While BPA is definitely something to pay attention to, the risk can vary depending on the type of food and the can's lining.
Okay.
For instance, acidic foods, think tomatoes, they
Okay.
tend to draw out more BPA from cans than, say, beans.
Oh, that's interesting. I always thought all canned food was the same in terms of BPA.
No, not necessarily.
What about some other common EDCs we should be on the lookout for?
Another group to keep in mind are phthalates.
Phthalates.
These are often added to plastics to make them more flexible, and they're also found in fragrances.
Yeah.
You'll find them in things like vinyl flooring,
Right.
shower curtains, air fresheners, even some personal care products.
So that fresh linen scented candle I love could actually be messing with my hormones.
It's possible, yeah.
Really?
Phthalates have been linked to a variety of health problems, especially reproductive issues.
Not my scented candles. Anything else?
Pesticides are another major source.
Think about all those residues lingering on fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, it makes you think twice about that apple, right?
Exactly. So while washing your produce is always a good idea, choosing organic can help reduce exposure even more.
That's helpful. Specific. I like it.
And since we're talking about specific things you can do,
Yeah.
let's talk about another sneaky EDC, triclosan.
Okay.
You'll often find it in antibacterial soap, even toothpaste.
But I thought antibacterial soap was a good thing.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh.
Studies have shown that triclosan can actually disrupt thyroid function, and it might even be contributing to antibiotic resistance.
So maybe that plain old bar of soap is the better choice?
Oftentimes, yeah.
Interesting.
And it's gentler on your skin, too.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. A lot of these EDCs are hiding in things we think are good for us or convenient.
Exactly. That's what makes them so tricky.
Right.
But the more we know about them, the better choices we can make.
So we've talked about some of the major players in the EDC world. But what about the risks? What kind of damage are they doing to our health?
Well, that's where things get concerning.
Okay.
ADCs have been linked to a lot of health problems.
Like?
We're talking everything from reproductive issues and metabolic disorders to developmental problems in kids,
Oh, wow.
and even an increased risk of certain cancers.
Wait, cancer?
Yeah, it's scary stuff.
It is.
But remember, knowledge is power.
Right.
The more we understand these risks, the better we can protect ourselves.
Okay, before we go full doom and gloom, let's talk about how EDCs work, how they mess with our hormones on a molecular level.
Sure. Think of our hormones as messengers, delivering instructions to our cells.
Okay.
Each hormone has a specific shape that fits into a receptor on the cell, kind of like a key in a lock.
Oh, so it's all about shape and fit.
Exactly.
Okay.
But EDCs, They can mess up this communication system in some sneaky ways.
So,
They can mimic hormones, preventing the real ones from doing their job. Or they can attach to the receptors themselves and send the wrong signals.
so they're either impersonating the messengers or jamming the communication lines.
Exactly.
Wow.
And sometimes they can even mess with hormone production, throwing the whole system out of whack.
This is complex, but I'm starting to get how these tiny molecules can have such a big impact on our health.
That's the main point.
Yeah.
Even small disruptions can have effects throughout the body.
Okay, so we've uncovered some major EDC culprits and their tactics, but how do we know if we're being affected? Are there warning signs?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's tricky because symptoms of EDC exposure can be pretty general.
Yeah.
They often look like other conditions, so it's hard to pinpoint the cause.
It's like solving a mystery without all the clues.
Right, exactly. But there are some things to keep an eye out for: unexplained weight changes,
Okay.
especially trouble losing weight even when you're dieting and exercising.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that, I'm sure. What else?
Mood swings can be an indicator too. Increased anxiety or depression. Persistent fatigue.
I mean, those are even more relatable. Who hasn't felt those? How do we know if it's EDCs or just life?
That's a good point. It's always best to talk to a doctor to rule out other things.
Right.
But if you're experiencing a bunch of these symptoms, especially if they came on suddenly or are really severe, it's worth thinking about EDCs.
So are there certain symptoms men and women should be looking for?
Yeah. For women, irregular periods,
Okay.
fertility issues, changes in libido, and early menopause can be red flags.
Right.
In men, declining sperm quality and other reproductive problems might be linked to EDC exposure.
Wow, so we're not just talking about feeling a little off. This is serious stuff. What about beyond reproductive health? Are there other things we should be looking for?
Definitely. Keep an eye out for changes in your skin and hair,
Okay.
things like acne, dryness, or hair loss.
Uh-huh.
These could be related to hormones too.
So it's really about paying attention to our bodies and noticing anything that's out of the ordinary.
Exactly. If something feels off, talk to your doctor.
This is a lot. It's kind of overwhelming to think about how many of these EDCs are out there and how hard it is to avoid them completely. What can we actually do? How do we fight back and protect ourselves?
I'm glad you asked that.
Mm.
Because while we can't eliminate all exposure, we can definitely take steps to reduce it.
Okay, let's hear it. What can we do in our daily lives to minimize our exposure?
One of the easiest things is to choose fresh foods over canned whenever you can.
Okay.
Remember, BPA is often found in those can linings, so opting for fresh or frozen produce can really help.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Fresh is best. But what about when canned goods are the only option?
In those cases, look for BPA-free canned goods.
Okay.
A lot of companies are making them now.
Good to know. What about all the plastic containers we have?
Switching to glass or stainless steel for food storage is a great move,
Okay.
especially when it comes to heating food.
Right.
Heat can make those chemicals leach out of plastic more easily.
So no more microwaving leftovers in plastic?
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
What about those plastic water bottles?
Yeah, I use those all the time.
Try switching to stainless steel or glass.
Okay.
And if you do use plastic, make sure it's BPA-free and try not to expose it to heat or direct sunlight.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about all the scented products we were talking about earlier? The candles, the air fresheners?
Choosing fragrance-free options for your personal care and cleaning supplies is a big one.
Okay.
It might not be as glamorous,
Right.
but it's a significant way to cut down on phthalates.
So goodbye, ocean breeze, bathroom spray, I guess.
Yeah.
Any other tips for navigating all the products out there?
Read those labels carefully.
Okay.
Look for things that say EDC-free or paraben-free.
Knowledge is power. Reading labels is our superpower, but what about bigger solutions? Shouldn't there be more regulations to protect us from this stuff?
Absolutely. That's a crucial part of the solution.
Yeah.
There are organizations like the EPA working on this. They're developing guidelines for managing EDC exposure.
So there's hope for more government oversight.
Yes, but it really depends on us.
What do you mean?
We need to speak up, raise awareness.
Right.
The more people demand safer products and hold companies accountable, the faster we'll see those changes.
So it's not just about individual actions, it's about collective effort.
Exactly. It's about voting with our wallets, supporting companies that prioritize safety, and talking to our friends and family about these issues.
I love that message. It feels good to know we're not just helpless victims here.
We're not. Every choice we make, from the products we buy to the policies we support, can contribute to a healthier future.
We've covered a lot of ground. We learned about what EDCs are, where they're hiding, the risks, and how to reduce exposure. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your final thoughts. What's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think it's really about awareness.
Yeah.
We've been talking about all these EDCs hiding in plain sight,
Right?
but once you understand the risks, you can make smarter choices.
It's about being informed and taking action to protect our health.
Exactly. We have more power than we think.
I like that.
Every time we buy something, support a company, we're saying what kind of world we want to live in.
So it's not just about our personal health.
Yeah.
It's about making a healthier environment for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Reducing our exposure to EDCs can have huge ripple effects.
Yeah.
Protects our families, our communities,
Wow.
even future generations.
That's a really powerful thought. It's not just about me. It's about the big picture.
Exactly. And it all comes back to awareness. The more we know, the more we can do.
Okay, so to wrap things up, let's give our listeners some key takeaways. What are the top 3 things they can do right now to start reducing their EDC exposure?
Number 1, choose fresh foods over canned whenever possible.
Okay.
Number 2, switch to glass or stainless steel for food storage and water bottles.
Got it.
And number 3, opt for fragrance-free personal care and cleaning products.
Easy, actionable steps. I love it.
And remember, every little bit counts. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress.
So true. We're all in this together. The more we learn and share, the bigger impact we can have.
Absolutely. It's amazing what we can achieve when we work together to demand better for ourselves and the planet.
This has been really eye-opening. I'm ready to make some changes, and I hope our listeners are too.
Me too. It's been great diving deep with you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of endocrine disruptors. We hope you learned something new and feel empowered to take action. Remember, knowledge is power, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, keep diving deep.